Hey, traders. Welcome to this very special interview edition. I have Paula T. Webb with me as well as Scott Carney. But y'all all know Scott Carney, and I'll let him talk in a second. But just want to formally introduce Paula T. Webb, the former manager of uh, trading for operations at Mid American Commodities Exchange. This is the first commodities exchange to offer mini contracts. She's a former floor trader, uh, author of 15 books, including, being a co-author with Mark Douglas, uh, co-founder of the field of trading psychology, 4 books translated in 9 languages. She has taught at Walton University in Pennsylvania, UCLA, Michigan, Kansas, University of Illinois, Chicago. Her books are ranked number 10 in sales year after year in the business and trading category, and that's all-time sales. And I think it's probably because of the message in the books. So, Paula, I don't know if that was a good introduction, but definitely happy to have you on.
Sure, that was a great introduction. Thank you. Am I really that accomplished? Woo, all right.
That's a lot of books.
It is.
Yes, with more to come. So we pretty much rock and roll when it comes to getting the material out there.
Absolutely. And so, Scott, I think you know Paula from back in the day, and Mark some. Do you want to go into that and maybe tell your story on how you met Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks, Paula, for making this time. And thank you, Mitch, and the community. You guys have been great. I really feel like I've personally tapped into a fantastic audience. And, in my interactions, the Mark's name has come up so much, and talking about the psychology of trading, and everyone really knows, of the material that the trading in the zone and disciplined trader, how much of an impact that has had on the industry. And I think, for me personally, having known Mark, I met him back in the mid to late 90s in Tucson, Arizona. Mark and I we ended up even doing a trade show in San Francisco. I think it was the Money Show together. We did a table together. And it was, I consider myself very lucky and honored to have, had the time to get to know Mark on a personal level, and talk, not only trading ideas, but he's just such a fantastic guy. And that's when I initially had met Paula briefly in that time. And then, since then I had moved away, and both of them had moved away. And then, definitely had been thinking a lot about Mark in recent years since his passing, and thinking about Paula because of the material. And I feel like it's really such a fantastic content that, I wanted to reach out to Paula and just kind of reconnect with her, and share her resources, and let people know how instrumental she has been with all of this for decades. And I think this gives us a great opportunity to reconnect with the real source. Having Paula here, I think people need to know that the material, when they say Mark Douglas, they need to say Paula T. Webb as well, because it's together they created this amazing library of work that, personally, for me, my conversations with Mark, the whole zone concept, it really got to me. There was things that Mark imparted to me that were just fundamental ways to be thinking as a trader, that kept me straight, that kept me balanced, harmonic, if you will. And thinking in that zone, one of the concepts that I developed was potential reversal zone, and that came directly from Mark's words of trading in the zone and being in the zone, that it requires that kind of mindset. So for all of that, and with the community you have, and this new generation of traders that really need to know on in a detailed level what Paula is doing today, what she will be doing. She's got a ton of podcasts, great material. She's got, as she said, new material coming out, that it's a great time, I feel, to make this reconnection. So thank you, both you guys, and Paula, again. I really hope that we can just start a conversation that you can lead it in the future of what you have that's coming down the pike. And maybe that's a good place for us to start, is what do you have planned coming up, and what are some of the things that are really look like that you're focused on for the next 6 months or so, in terms of the material that you've been working on, the new stuff?
Okay. Well, as we kind of chatted briefly the other day, with the current world events being what they are, we are really in unknown territory. There is an underlying current of uncertainty across the planet, unlike we've ever experienced previously. I will say that I do not think that these, quote, pandemics are going away, primarily because, not that there's a, quote, disease that is spreading and varianting and all that, but because there's too much money to be made from this. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a virus, okay, but I will just take this back one step, that during the 80s and the 90s, Mark and I literally traveled around the world. And if you may recall, in the late 80s and then up through the 90s, there were a lot of other world viruses going on. Ebola, the swine flu, the Asian flu, the bird flu, all these kind of things where people were getting sick, and some did die from them. But we traveled around the world without a mask, and all that was ever done at any international airport was someone took our temperature. So with that said, I think that people who probably traveled through this, and I'm not a scientist, but I think people who were traveling all those years might have already built up some sort of antibodies towards future viruses. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get vaccinated or stay safe, but the point is, things are different now because people are fear-based, and that reflects on your actions and your mindset, and it pushes away common sense. So my point being is that we have to approach our trading even more so today than previously, based on current world events, from a space of common sense. And I bring this up because there are a number of traders that have approached me, new traders, that think that Wall Street's going to crash and burn. And I find that a little humorous, because not only is that probably an impossibility, at least for several lifetimes yet, but it's sadly, it's apparent that they really don't even understand how Wall Street came to be. And if you don't have an underlying foundation of how the markets began, then you can't really understand how they're going to move forward. I mean, Wall Street and the Chicago markets and the world markets have been around through what, 2 world wars, how many other conflicts, Vietnam, Korea, Middle East stuff. And other than the sad event of 9/11, 2001, Wall Street has never been closed, for more than a weekend or the holidays. So that's something that traders today have to be aware of, that Wall Street isn't going anywhere.
Sure.
I mean, money is what drives the planet, and we all got into trading to make money. So that's the standard. It's not going to go anywhere. So addressing all this, how does one trade effectively given ongoing pandemics. And the pandemic may be a war, it may be continued viruses, it may be whatever. The point is, as I said a few moments ago, whatever is surrounding the origins of these pandemics will continue because there is too much money to make off of these global crises. Just case in point, people that are manufacturing face masks. I mean, they're all over the place, and there are little ma and pa startups that have made tens of thousands of dollars, just providing these types of products. So you have to keep that in mind, that it's probably not going to go away. It may ease up, but it still be there. So as we navigate through these waters of uncertainty, it brings home a lot within ourselves as to what we know our strengths are, but it also brings up what we don't want to face are our weaknesses. And this is nothing negative. This is just human nature. And so once you are in the middle of this, as we all are right now, you may notice that your trading may not be going as smoothly as possible. Maybe you're finding it more difficult to get in or out of a trade, or you're doing trading errors that you thought you had moved past. And all that tells you is that you haven't de-energized any of those limiting or conflicting beliefs 100%. Now, you may have deflated them to a certain degree, but there's still energy within them. So we can look at what's going on across the planet right now as a absolutely huge, fantastic learning experience to truly step into our thought processes and create, to the nth degree, the kind of financial freedom that we've really been desiring, but haven't really embraced to the degree that we should.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We have the opportunity with the easy money and the market's getting flooded with trillions of dollars during this crisis. But at the same time, yes, absolutely. We have to see the opportunity inside of this crisis. Right.
I mean, and, the normal reaction for a lot of people is to be fearful. I'm afraid I'm going to die. I'm afraid I'm going to get sick. I'm afraid I won't, have enough vaccines, whatever, or I won't find masks or disinfectant. That's a conflicting belief, because if you're focused on that aspect, then you really can't see opportunity that could be right down the street. And I'll just give you a little example. Is that, a year ago, when it was very difficult, at least here in California, to get any disinfecting products like Lysol, forget it. You couldn't even get it. There was no way. I just happened to be on the Walmart website, and I saw you could buy rubbing alcohol, 70% rubbing alcohol, which of course disinfects everything. And of course, they never had any on the shelves, but you could buy 2 bottles every single day and you had free shipping. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And you got it overnight. So that's what I started doing. I bought a bunch of rubbing alcohol. And so I had my stash. All right. So my point being is I wasn't worried about not being able to get product. I just knew there would be something that would come into my awareness that would get me what I wanted to acquire. Now, let me back that up a little further. Mark Douglas, I know his family kind of thought he was a germaphobe a long time ago, but there were some things, especially when we were traveling around the world, he always brought rubbing alcohol, and he would wipe down the hotel rooms, everything, the bathrooms, the counters, the desks, everything. And when I first met him, I'll be honest with you, I thought he was kind of nuts, but I didn't care, because you know what? When we would get home and I was making dinner or we had a party, I mean, that house was disinfectant like there was no tomorrow. And I thought, well, hey, buddy, if that's your thing, go to it. That's fine. So what he started doing after we weren't really traveling that much is he, having owned restaurants with his family prior to trading, he knew all about sanitation and food handling and, cross-contamination. And so what he started noticing, there was a lot of restaurants were becoming very lax as we would go out to eat. Like you'd have your busboy pick up dirty plates and then bring the same base busboy would bring you your food. I mean, that's,
Yeah, it's
without
very
washing
bad.
their hands, that's kind of gross. Or he would see the bartender put their hands inside the dirty glasses to go wash them and then hand you your drink without washing your hands. So when he pointed that out to me, I was pretty nauseated. And so we both started carrying like a little travel size bottle of rubbing alcohol. So 15 years ago, I was disinfecting any, shopping carts, whatever, because based on what Mark taught me. And I have to tell you, in all that time we were traveling and all the last 15 years, neither he nor I ever got sick. Nothing, not a cold, not a sniffle, nothing.
So in the
So
zone goes outside of just trading, right? So disinfecting in
exactly.
the zone. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I'm bringing this up because you have to look at the bigger picture. If you're fearful in one area, like you're going to be contaminated if you go outside, then you come back into your office, that's still in the back of your brain. So if you're feeling like you're not clean or you've been exposed to whatever, then how can you be 100% focused on the markets? You can't.
Correct. And it's also like not just that, the virus. I mean, last year, think about the polarization of the political climate where, it's more divided than it's ever been. And that was a perfect way for people to get distracted from the markets because there was like a generational opportunity when the COVID crash bottom hit to maybe recently, how high the markets have gone, the V-shaped recovery. That was huge opportunity. And a lot of people missed it because they were focusing on the wrong things.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I'm not making a political statement here.
Sure.
I'm just explaining that it's all connected. It's all connected. I'll give you another good example. Mark was a lifelong hockey player, competitive player, and his teams took quite a few championships over the years. But there was always one thing that he was aware of was doing his best not to get hurt. And he did that by watching his environment on the way to his games. And if he hit more than 2 red lights on the way to his games, he would turn around and come home.
Interesting.
Absolutely. And this was not a superstition because there was one time we were going to his game and we hit almost every single red light. I mean, it was like really annoying, right? So,
Yeah.
and Mark, we got to the rink and he said, I probably shouldn't play tonight because we hit all those red lights. And this was the first time he had said this to me. And of course, this is a long time ago. And I said, well, okay, then, maybe you shouldn't play. Well, it was in the playoffs and they were already shorthanded and he didn't want to let the team down. He said, well, I'll just be extra careful, knowing that he was breaking his own rule.
Mm-hmm.
And he got hurt. He pulled a groin muscle. Now, I'm
Jeez.
not a man, so I don't know about that thing, but all I know is it was very painful.
So what is the thought process of the stoplights and possibly what's the correlation between the stoplights and being in the rink and, having a higher probability of getting injured?
Well, let's put it this way. If you're going somewhere and you're hitting every single red light or almost every single red light, first of all, you're starting to get annoyed, right? You go every block or every 2 blocks, right? And you're thinking, what is going on here? So
Yeah, who
now,
set that up? Yeah.
right. So now your focus is not on your destination. Your focus is on, why am I being stopped so frequently doing something I do all the time
Wow.
in this particular occasion, right? Not every day. It's just that one event. And so when Mark got to the rink, he knew he shouldn't play. So he already knew he was breaking his rules, but they were shorthanded, didn't want to let the guys down. He made the rationalization to go ahead and do it. He would just be extra careful. Well, he's extra careful, which is what caused the injury.
Sure.
So his mind wasn't 100% on the game. It was on not getting hurt because the universe had sent him the message, don't play today.
That's
Paula,
like got to be intuitive phase of hockey, right? If we talk
Well, it's
about.
not even hockey. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I drive over to Scottsdale, which I do to get my books printed because that's my buddies over there. They take care of me to print my books. If I get on the expressway and I see one accident, I turn around and go home. No lie. Because now it's in the back of my brain. Wow, that was a bad accident. Now I'm not 100% focused and being relaxed and objective about the road in front of me.
Well, how much time does it take, do you think, to recalibrate your thought processes and kind of getting back into being completely focused? Is there the next day? Is it a 24-hour thing?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, the first part is recognizing the signals that are telling you you're not 100% focused. Okay. That's the hardest part. Okay. So let's say somebody's looking at a chart and they're not quite sure what their setup is. And so then they start doing a 3-minute, a 5-minute, a 15-minute, 30-minute, hour time frame. And they're comparing all that data and they're still hesitating. What is that saying? Those are signals telling you you're not 100%.
Paralysis by analysis.
Well, pretty much, but guys will still put the trades on and then lose. And they're like, oh, I shouldn't have done it.
Mark seemed to really be, very aware of his environment. And for me, a lot of I knew about the germ phobia and that he was very particular about that stuff. I do remember that, the hockey thing. That's a great story. But, for me, he was always very aware of his environment, it seemed. And a lot of the things that he had imparted to me about that awareness keys you in, at least on the first part, to avoid the avoidable or the known mistakes, like recognizing your own signs and those immediate things around you. And being aware of that, as, taking that seriously, that that can be distracting you, that can take you out of the mental zone that you need to be. And I didn't know he was to that level, but what you're saying actually makes a lot of sense, because he really was such an observant guy. And the things that he shared were to be aware of not only your environment, but how you're responding and the things that you do that could be avoidable mistakes, and almost, in the way that you're describing it, but to if you're aware of that and there's that potential, yeah, there's no problem to reset, step back. Okay, turn around, go home. You don't like what you're seeing on the road? Go around, go home. You can go back another time. And you guys live that. I mean, I know it's a great story though, because it surely really underscores the level of the awareness that if you know that you are in that zone and you're focused, whatever, you're going to be fully aware. But it seems to me also part of that being in that zone is the willingness to accept, hey, wait, there might not be something right here. Let me step back. And, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is that no one told Mark about the red lights. That was his own criteria. Okay. I mean, after that, him getting hurt, of course, I adopted that real quick myself, but because I'd seen it in action.
For sure.
So when it comes to your trading, every trader has to come up with their own criteria as to what is going to be shown to them, what data, what information is being shown to them that's telling them, yes, you are at your peak performance right now, put that trade on, or no, you're not, probably don't want to trade right now. And so that's where I think traders get confused, because they'll do their analysis, and like I said a few moments ago, then they hesitate, and they're not quite sure what it is they're supposed to be looking for to assure them that they should be putting that trade on. And a lot of it is intuitive, but But simply put, if you're hesitating, then you have to stop and write down, why am I hesitating?
Sure.
And that's it. It's that simple. It really is. And then what that's going to do is every time you hesitate, you get your notebook out and you're saying, okay, I'm hesitating again. Why am I hesitating? And you're writing down longhand why you're hesitating. Now you're building historical data for your criteria that you can use in the future to remind yourself when you're not 100%.
So just like you have your trading log with the literal numbers, right? Your P&Ls, you also have another log that's going into, your mental details of how you're feeling at the time as a trader.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't know how you're feeling, if you're not in touch with that mental environment to that degree, then you shouldn't be trading. Bottom line.
Yeah.
That's a big avoidable mistake. That is something that the overtrading or not recognizing it at a minimum when you need to at least take a break.
Right.
I've seen that so much. And it's actually, for me, there's certain times of the year, usually June until about late August, where, I purposely will take a little time off. And for that very reason, it's very easy to get overly locked in, and then, you lose your balance. I really feel like, there's two parts that you need. You have to be ready to trade the market, and the market has to be ready to be traded. True. And a lot of that, if that's not balanced, and you have to be willing to also just step back and say, okay, I'm going to get myself to that point where I am ready, I am balanced to then get into the market. But too many people are jumping the FOMO style where they're not the mindset. There's not even a mindset that they even consider. And that is something that sooner or later you're going to have to work on it, because you're going to have to understand what your mind is generating, even from the self-defense mechanism. I mean, that's something. The other thing that I heard Mark talk a lot about and I'm sure, Paula, you can share it with us, is just of what we do without even realizing it to defend ourselves from the market, where we throw up actions because we're in self-defense mode and we don't even realize it. And that's where, even if you can recognize that you're out of kilters and just taking a break, well, that goes a long way to success as well.
Right. And you asked the question, how long does it take to reset? It takes as long as you allow it to. It's up to you. Now, so like going back to the red light idea, I mean, there's been times where I really wanted to go somewhere, but I had those red lights, and, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to go anyway. And then the second voice is like, what are you, nuts? And so I turn around and go home. And, the last time it happened was we were in Chicago, and I was running late to meet some friends in Greektown for dinner. And Mark was staying home. He had some calls to do or something. And I kept getting all these red lights. And finally I pulled over because I knew I was not focused. And I pulled over for about 5 minutes and just kind of meditated and said, all right, clear your brain. Should you go home or just relax? And I eventually ended up going on to the restaurant. But as I rounded the bend, there was a 5-car accident that if I had not pulled over, I would have been involved in. This is no lie. This is something I talk about all the time. So there are consequences when you're not following, when you're not listening to what data is being provided to you. Now, the car wreck, I don't know. I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, there was blood and guts everywhere, and I was pretty shook up. And I went to the restaurant. I told everybody what happened. I said, I'm going home. And so I went home and I told Mark, and he said, are you nuts? You had 4 red lights and you didn't turn around. And I'm like, I know. I get it. It's the same with the markets. If you're trying to push it and stay with it, even though inside you're not 100%, you're going to lose financially. That's a fact. Maybe not in that moment, maybe not on that trade, but then you develop a bad habit of doing that, of not staying focused and not listening to true data in front of you. And ultimately you will not reach your financial goals. That's the way it works in all aspects of our life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, learning technical analysis and your technical system, your divergences, your critical supports, your harmonic pattern completion zones, your confirmation lows. Learning all that's really important, but we also have to learn how we think as individuals, right?
Absolutely. And that's why you have to keep, a daily journal.
Mhm.
You have to write down your thoughts before every trade. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What do I want to happen today? What do I want to achieve today? Not your trading plan. That's totally separate. And on top of that, you have to have a business plan. Trading is a business. And I'll tell you, at least 90% of every trader that calls me that's lost a substantial amount of money in the markets has no business plan. You're like, well, I don't need a business plan. It's just me. No, you're trading to make money. Anything you do to make money is a business.
Too much overhead, right?
Yeah, and well, I don't need rules. Well, if you don't need rules, then why are you complaining about having not followed your rules?
Do you find that's one of the biggest mistakes traders are having? They're just failing to plan?
Yeah, because they really don't have a plan, but they've convinced themselves they do have a plan. They have a trading plan. Okay, you do your analysis, you get your setups, you got your system, you got your platform, boom, 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 right? Got all the technical mechanisms, but you have no idea what you're going to do with that money except keep it in your trading account so you can start trading bigger size. Well, that's ridiculous, because if you have no goals, I mean, I can't tell you how many traders say to me, well, after I make $1 million, then I'm going to have a business plan on what I'm going to do with the money. Okay, well, if you don't have a business plan to begin with, how are you going to accumulate that money? And 9 times out of 10, they'll come back and say, well, everybody knows you just keep all your profit in your trading account so you can increase your size. That's how you grow your money. Okay. All right. Got it. I said, how has that been working for you? Dead silence, of course. So a lot of it is just business 101. You have to have a plan. Let's say your first 3, 6, 12-month business plan. If you make X amount of dollars, how much are you going to take out and put aside? And, and start paying yourself as a trader.
Sure.
And no one is addressing this because that's not what keeps the markets in motion. If everybody were making money, we wouldn't have any markets. So, the new traders today too, because looking at their accounts online, especially the 20 and 30 somethings, they don't know what money is. They have no idea what dollar bills are and change and all that. Like maybe you guys know, they're used to everything online, on their phone, on their tablet, whatever. There's no real attachment to the money they're making, except that they're able to spend using their credit card or debit card.
It's just a number on a screen for sure.
Yes, right. So if you don't have an attachment to that number, other than, okay, well, now I can pay my rent and that kind of thing, then you really can't know intrinsically how to grow that. So the example that I gave last week was at another podcast was if traders who wanted to open a trading account had to go to the bank and withdraw, and we'll just use this as an example, let's say $20,000 in cash, and they had to put that pile on their desk, and every time they wanted to put a trade on, they had to feed dollar bills into their machine. You can be darn sure that a lot more traders would be following their rules.
Yeah, for sure. Wow,
right?
I hadn't even thought about it like that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Right. So, I mean, if you're not connected to your money that you're working hard to grow, then you can't grow it in a way that you really dream of, because there's nothing inside your mental environment to attach it to. Whereas if you have a business plan, you say, okay, the first year of my trading, and I'm just using these numbers as examples
Sure.
again. Let's say I made $5,000 in profit. I'm going to take 2,500 of that out, and I'm going to put that in a CD so I can't touch it. And that's going to be for a down payment on a house. Now you've paid yourself as a trader. Now you have 2,500 in actual true realized profit.
Mm-hmm.
Not the additional 2,500 in your trading account, because that's your working capital.
Absolutely.
Do you see the difference?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And yeah, you'll grow that amount in the trading portfolio, then, you know, the dollar amount will incrementally go up. It won't just be a huge amount more. And position sizing is really important, that I don't think a lot of people talk about much, where you're saying, hey, once I get $1 million, I'll have a lot of capital to trade with, and then it'll be easier to make money. But it's just not the case.
It's not practical. It's not practical.
And it's like, we know that trades are going to fail, and the overhead that you and Mark have talked about in the books, the overhead is like your stop losses. And so those are gonna trigger, like, and you don't, if you have a 3-to-1 reward to risk, you only have to win 33% of your trades. So it's just like, you really need to understand that position sizing is everything, because if you lose one of the trades, but you've overplayed your position, right, too much percentage in that trade, it's going to take 3 more trades to make back what you lost on that trade. So, right, it's all about, you're almost like a machine. You're almost like an algorithm or a bot, where it's the same amount for the last trade, this trade, and the next trade. And that you will have growth incrementally, but it won't be an explosive amount. It'll be very methodical, and it's easier to manage that way. So
the plan also goes a long way. I think a lot of what Paul is saying also of the plan of what you're going to do when you get the money, it makes people, one, have a plan, not only of a strategy for, you know, when do I buy and sell, but an overall plan and a visualization of how you're going to handle the money you're going to make, and visualizing that, yeah, okay, when I make the money, all right, that sets in motion of what you're going to do and how to handle that success. Because a lot of times I've seen it, I know Paula's seen it, where you see a lot of people make a ton of money real quick only to give it back. And you got to have a plan on both sides. I find of, you know, being aware of what you're doing, your strategy, but also how you're managing yourself and your trading as a business. I mean, that is the trading as a business concept, I think, also gets people realizing, you know, other aspects of the trading endeavor as more than just a video game here. We're not just looking at, you know, video game screen and with money on it. I mean, this is a larger thought process, you operating as a business, not just an individual. And a lot of that planning that goes into it to get to the larger levels. I know everyone aspires, you know, you start with your small acorn and you want to grow that into a big tree, what have you, but you have to understand the larger, where you are in the larger picture and how you're going to get there. Because there's a lot of things that you will be challenged with in your growth learning curve that can easily deter you, can knock you off your seat, and then, you know, you have to get back on it. But the plan and the trading log definitely were two of the biggest takeaways I got. I kept a trading log for many years of not only just, you know, trading ideas, but then, okay, writing down what I did and what was I thinking, and, you know, some of the things, some of the discoveries, a lot of the discoveries that I've put out of number combinations and pattern combinations that didn't work. Why didn't they work? Well, the last 4 times, instead of going to a 786, they went to an 886. And so what I found was I was kind of studying my own. I definitely was studying my own behavior and how I responded. And that's how I learned about what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong. But documenting it within that plan is really the only way. I mean, it's stated a lot, fail to plan to fail. But in trading, it is true. Unfortunately, most people wait until they have lost their startup capital or have taken a real hit before they're willing to even take a look at themselves.
The
Right.
pain of discipline versus the pain of disappointment, right? You're going to have to go through one. So you might as well go through that discipline instead of the disappointment where you blow up your account. And what happens like when you do that, it probably you've developed really bad habits, to get to that point. So yeah, I know it's almost cliche talking about it, but it's better to not try. I think about it like you're at the golf course and you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to develop a swing and you keep doing this without taking lessons or practicing. You develop the really bad habits. You don't have a good time doing it and your performance is terrible. Right. And then you have to go to you finally give up and you say, I got to get someone to help me with this. And that's where Paula T. Webb comes into play with this stuff, because you go to paulatwebb.com and she provides services for helping you with this stuff. But she is going to be your golf instructor in this analogy, right? And she'll help you break the bad habits. Or if you haven't developed those bad habits, hopefully, you're listening to this podcast right now and you just want to make the right steps, as go with the professionals immediately. Don't try to do it yourself. So
Paula, how would you recommend for people to get started? Obviously with the books, but with the new material, with all I'm sure the stuff you've done in recent years, especially in today's environment, what are some of the ways you would recommend for people to connect with you, to get started and really get into the mindset you're talking about?
Well, as you said, you can just go to my website, and you can also go to www.markdouglas.com. That'll take you right there too.
Mhm.
But if you have questions, just give me a call, because there's an open invitation to everyone who calls for 30 minutes free chat.
Wow.
And that'll help traders understand, to know what they don't know, that they don't know. And that's key. And that's what we've been doing for, decades, is helping traders understand that there is a unique set of skills that they need to instill into their mental environment to keep sustained profits, not, just cyclical profits. And it's not a difficult thing to do. And just getting back to the business plan briefly here for a second, is a lot of the people, it's 50 here. A lot of the newer traders getting into trading today don't know what it means to have a business, because they're young. And that's it's not anything negative. It's just a fact. They're young. And the other half of traders do know what having a business is about, either having owned their own business or having worked for others for a long period of time. And they may not have a positive view of owning a business. So when I say trading is a business, their hackles go up and they're like, I don't want to own a business. And I have to explain to them, I'm not saying you have to get a corporation. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that you have to have a professional business-like approach to your trading. And if you don't have that, then you can't accumulate and keep it. That's all. And so, that's something that's really key in the beginning. And the other thing is that when people first get into trading, they definitely, within this business plan, they have to determine what length of time they're going to give this new venture, and how much money they're willing to have as disposable income to find out whether they can make a go of it or not. And unfortunately, very few, probably less than 1% of all traders ever do that. And that's how they end up getting into debt and borrowing from family members, or, and then that's added pressure and added obligation. So if they just kind of do their trading plan, create a business plan, real simple from the start.
Mhm.
Now, at least they have some sort of foundation, which will help them to navigate current market events, no matter what they are, because they'll say, okay, this is what I need to achieve every week. You have goals. That's it. That's how you make money, by having goals. So that's what I help a lot of traders with. Even seasoned traders will say, yeah, I should have had a business plan 20 years ago. Now the markets have changed, but I haven't. How do I fix that? It's like, well, start a business plan today. What do you want to accomplish tomorrow? So it's never too late, guys. That's one thing I want to let everybody know. It's never too late to change your perspective and to learn how to become more effective as a trader.
Yep.
That's the beauty of trading.
Mhm.
There's always opportunity.
Yeah, the constant opportunity stream. Absolutely. That is also something. A lot of things you're saying are just kind of ringing, and that too, because it's not thinking that of the constant opportunity stream. Today was a big down day in the market.
Mhm.
Yet there was opportunity here today. Crypto's down big today right now, but there's opportunities in this, in this big, what seems to be a disastrous day. No, there's opportunity. We got tomorrow. And for myself, a lot of the things that I found myself doing when I wasn't in the opportunity stream was I was shutting down, and I would shut down. I'd be dismissive of opportunities, or I'd be, get a little off kilter, and then, be like, nothing's happening, when there's clear opportunities right in front of me. And so, those kind of realizations, reminding yourself that there's constant opportunity is so critical, because then we're open, we're alert, we're ready to pounce when the variables and present themselves in any environment. And I think in today's environment, more than Paula, you and I, a little bit older than the rest of the crowd, of having
Right.
been around here for a little while.
Right.
Verifiably, okay, it is a different
We won't say
environment.
how much older.
Yeah. But
You can thank the internet for that, high-speed internet, and then instant gratification from social media.
Right.
They did a study, like on a case study on people. It's like a YouTube video. They would tell people to look at it, and it was like 90% plus of the people, they would change the video after 3 seconds of buffering. That shows how impatient everyone's become because of the speed of internet and stuff. So
Exactly.
it's not a good environment for people, with all this almost unlimited amount of information to try to begin trading. So it's I'm really happy when I'm able to find people that are new, because there's just so many people out there that are, spewing out the wrong information, and not really instilling the right values in that new mind, a new market participant. So, and that's going to get them hurt. So,
well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was watching TV last night, and there's a commercial. It's the first time I've seen it. It may have been out for a while. I don't know, because I don't really watch a lot of TV because of all the negative stuff on the television. And it was, and I won't name the name of the platform provider, but they were showing how they have this fabulous new app on your phone. And so they were showing this man who was trading at his desk, and then he had to go to his children's soccer game. And so he's at the soccer game trading.
Yeah.
Not watching his kids
Wow.
playing. And they're saying the ease of trading has never been better, and you can do it anywhere, anytime. And I'm thinking, this must have been developed by someone who does not have children and is not married, because I could just imagine all the wives out there and the mothers screaming at the television saying, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? And this is like a cardinal rule. You don't trade from your phone when you are in your car, or you're, at a meeting, or you're at, your children's event, or you're anywhere else. You trade when you are at your trading desk. That's it. And that's what I teach people. And A lot of the young guys out there are going to say, well, you're crazy because I can trade from anywhere. And yes, you can. However, there are times when it's not appropriate for you to be trading because you're supposed to be doing something else.
100%.
I wonder if, you know, in terms sheer numbers, I think maybe there may be as many people trading on their phone as in front of a desk. I never understood how you could execute a trade without having at least 2 or 3 screens in front of you and some charts, understanding, knowing where you're getting in, getting out. But again, I think the younger traders are used to this technology. I don't think it's secure. I think, you know,
Right.
what you're saying of having a focus, having a desk, you know, dedicating your time and your trading to a specific location is required, especially in today's environment. I
Right.
don't trading on the phone, you know, if you're like that I don't think that's
obsessive,
professional.
and that
Yeah.
means you're addicted to it, and that's obviously not positive. Now, if that's the only device they have, which I would find highly unlikely in today's world, I could say, okay, maybe, but 9 times out of 10, they're trading on their phone when their focus should be somewhere else, and so that means they're multitasking, as displayed on this commercial last night. And I'm actually going to write this platform provider and tell them how damaging that commercial is to a new trader who thinks, oh, well, you know, I have to go be in a meeting, or I have to go pick up my kids, or I have to, you know, take them to a swim meet, or I can be driving and I can still trade. That's really not cool. And I mean, I get it. The technology is out there, and I'm sure some people, maybe they're on vacation and they want to just trade on their phone, which is another no-no. If you're on vacation, you are on vacation. But I just really was in shock that they would actually show this guy who's trading instead of watching his daughter make, you know, a goal. I just, so my point being is that if you are not focused, it doesn't matter what type of technology there is out there. When you trade, that's what you should be doing, not anything else. That was my long-winded point. Sorry.
Yeah, but that also speaks to the opportunity stream, because if you need to be looking at your quotes, you know, every hour of every day, then you're not in with the stream of opportunities that, hey, when you sit down at your desk and the markets are moving, there's opportunities all day long, and you only need that certain amount of time. I mean, I find that, you know, excessively checking my phone or whatever is not constructive. It doesn't help me in my trading. Most of the work that I'm doing, you know, I'll do in the early mornings until midday when I start, and I get a lot done, and my trade's done, and that's all I need. But in today's world, especially with the way it's being marketed, it's more of like an obsession, a gaming style,
right,
kind of a experience, when no, this is a real business. It's not a video game. And I think certain rules like that are very helpful, because then people need to sit down at a desk and really focus at what they're doing within that time, and only that time.
Right. And that's one of the things I also teach is LPS, your life plan schematic. And what I make clients do is pull up, you know, a monthly calendar, and you delineate every day of the week how many hours you're going to devote to trading, analysis, family, entertainment, spiritual, athletics, you know, whatever fields are currently in your life. You have to delineate how much time you're going to devote to each one of those areas. And yes, you know, sometimes it might change. It has to be flexible and that kind of thing. But when you set up that type of schematic, then you know, okay, I'm doing my analysis from 6 to 7 Pacific Coast time, let's say, you know, And then your family knows, okay, daddy's doing his analysis from 6 to 7. So he'll be able to play with you after that. And then you go and do whatever you're going to do after that. And then you know you're going to trade from 9 to 11. Let's just say, these are just examples. And then if you're working at home and you have kids at home, okay, you can't disturb daddy between 9 and 11. And the wife also knows, I can't go in and ask him, how much money did you just make? Okay, which is, yeah, right. Because that's a big thing. So when traders do that, then they have focus, and then they know, okay, all right, thanks guys, I gotta go do this, or I gotta do that. And once you start organizing your time, it's just simple time management, then you can be focused and know when I'm trading, that's it, that's my 100% focused. And that's when you see true opportunity. And that's when you can actually read market data as it's presented to you objectively. And the last thing about that commercial is, which I found really the most alarming, was they were basically implying that traders did not have to use stops because of this new app. That's what really got me.
It's probably the marketing department,
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't even.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get it. They were thinking about the ease of the technology and all that kind of stuff. And that's great, but it wasn't followed through, but so a lot of what I teach guys is organization, time management, prudent money management, and and that all starts with a business plan along with your trading plan.
Do you find that traders have more to deal with, more organization in their life than just their trading to realize the success, or is it about 50-50 or?
Oh no, most of them are so disorganized, it's ridiculous. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I mean, there are days when I get up and I know I'm not in the frame of mind to trade. So I don't trade because I know I will lose. That's just me. All right. But I know that about myself now. So I'll do other things. So my schematic may change for that day just because I know I'm not at my peak performance to make money. So, but you have to know that about yourself, and you can't know that about yourself if you're all unorganized and you're just doing stuff willy-nilly. So, well, I guess I'll go to the gym now because I got nothing else to do. And then you're at the gym and you're on your phone looking at the trades or looking at charts. Well, okay, so now you're looking at charts, but you're not focused on the gym 100%, and you're not focused on your trading 100%. So when are you going to be at it 100%? Do you see what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah. And like you were saying earlier, I mean, like a couple stoplights might be all it takes, in a row. But
yeah, I mean, that's just a symbolic representation.
Yeah, for sure. It makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, you're right. You could get injured at the gym.
Or you could take on a huge loss, I guess, at the gym, whatever, because you're doing both at the same time.
Exactly right. Oh yeah, let's say you decide to put your phone down because you're lifting the weights, the free weights. And while you're doing that, oh, I missed a trade. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't have my stop in. Damn. This is what I hear constantly. So when you're trading, that's all you can do. Like, we're having this great dialogue here today. I'm not checking my emails. I'm not looking anywhere else except at this screen, chatting with you guys. I'm in this 100% like you guys are. And that's the way traders, especially the new young guys, they have to get it. You cannot multitask if you really want your financial freedom.
100%.
But they're bombarded by, the YouTube stars and all that kind of stuff. So they really don't believe that. They think they can do everything, anytime, anywhere, any place. And that may work for a small percentage of very unique minded individuals, but it's not going to happen for the general trading community.
Yeah, especially if you're not playing the numbers game. I mean, that's what trading is, the numbers game. And, you want to have a higher probability than a coin flip chance at a level, with your plan. And if you're constantly distracted with random things you're doing while you're trying to trade, it's not going to end well.
I think crypto's done a lot to really kind of harbor that mentality and
I agree.
really be
Oh,
just,
Yeah.
kind of let me be complacent in my responsibility of trading, and I'll just hodl every money bag. And I think it is something we didn't deal with, for when I met Mark and Paula, and it was 97, 98 or so, Tucson days, that the .com stocks were exploding. So, Amazon, Yahoo, with Google was 5, 6 years until Google was even a publicly traded company. And back then we thought that was crazy.
Right.
And the crypto market and the things today, they're 100 times what that .com was. And I don't know if you see this more now than you did prior. I wouldn't be surprised of people not being, not really together, not really, they're really caught up in that, it seems, not willing to step back and take a hard look at what they're doing, and afraid to miss the next surge. And I think it's almost helpful for people to, to intentionally try to miss moves, or be in those situations where you face the FOMO, and you got to let go of that FOMO and override FOMO with a real plan, life plan, trading plan. Get yourself organized to be ready to be focused on this level. It more than ever, also, in my opinion, with all the bots, there's so many elements, trading elements that I didn't have to deal with when I first started trading, that are going to beat you. That if you're not on top of your game, it's not going to happen for you, and you're going to throw away money. I mean, absolutely.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, my neighbor has a 23-year-old son, and he got in on the Robinhood thing and started trading Tesla. And so we went to go up on, there's a tram here in Palm Springs. It goes up about 9,000 feet. It's really nice. It's like 5 minutes from my house. And so we all decided to go up there because they had some company in town. So we're up there waiting for the next car to take us up the mountain. And Henry, the 23-year-old, he's on his phone. And I said, "What's going on?" He says, "Oh, I'm checking my trade." And I looked at him, I said, "Oh, what are you trading?" He said, "Tesla." I said, "Okay, where'd you get in at?" And he says, "Well, I got in where I got in." I'm like, "Okay, well, what number did you get in at?" Because I'm thinking, all right, he doesn't know, I said, "Okay, what did you buy it at?" And he said, "Well, I didn't buy it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I said, "Well, what are you doing? If you didn't buy it, what did you do?" So he had this, I don't even know what he said, but he had no concept of the fact that he actually paid for the stock that was trading, but he didn't know anything about putting in a stop, to limit his loss, considering we were going to be on the tram and there's no service at the top of the mountain. So I said to him, I said, "Well, did you put in your stop? We're going up to the top of this mountain. There's no cell service. What if the market tanks?" And he's like, "It's Tesla. It's not going to tank." Okay. All right.
Wow, he has an expectation right there. That's
right.
Yep.
Right. And based on the platform that he had. So anyway, we go up there. We're up there a couple hours because it's nice up there. It's pretty, and we had lunch and a couple drinks. I'll be honest. It was a vacation day. So we come back down and he checks it, and well, gee, what a surprise! Tesla was down $90. And he said, "Well, how did that happen?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "Whoa, you're the trading expert." I said, "No, you said you were."
Supply and demand. It's a good way to answer, right?
Always.
Yeah.
I said, "I told you to get out of the trade before we even went up because we were going to be up there a couple hours." I said, "Or put a stop in to limit your loss."
And I don't even think on that app you can do that. I mean, maybe
well,
now
exactly.
you can,
well, that's what he told.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what he told me. So he's looking all over it, and he goes, "Well, there's nothing here for a stop." I said, "Well, if there's no way to stop it on your phone, then why are you trading on your phone?" I said, "Because you're going to lose money."
It's just kind of like quote
It's a
unquote
game.
investing or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the uphill battle that a lot of these new traders are facing, because now he doesn't do that on his phone anymore. I mean, for him, $90 was a big hit because they immediately deducted that from his account, and he was pretty irritated at it. And I'm like, why are you irritated? That's the rules. That's what happens.
Yep.
You didn't put a stop in. You knew there was no option to do that, even though you didn't know what a stop was. You made the choice to stay in the trade, knowing you were going to have no cell service, so you couldn't check on it. So that's on you, 100% on you. So he didn't like me for a while, but then he got it.
Yes.
He did get it, and now he only trades on his computer.
Yeah,
and he's one of the smart ones. It only took $90.
Yeah, it's a $90 education lesson. Beautiful, right?
Yeah. So I know I think I mentioned when we chatted before that there has been a couple guys saying, well, maybe back in your day, that's the way you did things. I was like,
what, having a trading plan?
Yeah, right. Having a business plan, not multitasking, that kind of thing. And I said, well, when you want to get serious about your trading, you can call me back. There's no point in talking to you because you already know it all.
And, and they're going to look, this is a great point that you bring up, and I will say it too. Okay. There are not many people that I know that I started out with that have made it, that are still trading, whether they were successful or not. I do not know many people that have stuck with the trading and made it to where they said they were going to when they first started out. And, for myself, I know for a fact, the only way that I've been able to do what I've done is get serious with a plan. Part of my plan, actually early on, this is late 90s, is I always wanted to be a registered investment advisor. And I got my licenses, but I didn't even realize that until I made a plan. I was doing a lot of, when I wrote the Harmonic Trader, that came from my personal logs, the trading logs and the notes and everything. And then I was discovering things that I wanted to do. But even through that, and even through the last 20 years, I mean, a lot has changed, but fundamentally trading has not, in terms of what it takes to make the effective decisions required to stay successful. And the one thing that does happen, I've seen it, where if you get knocked off your position, what have you, are you willing to come back? Are you willing to do the work, not only with yourself, but, with your life, so that you can get and stay on track with the opportunities the market gives us? Because it's this is a mostly self-directed endeavor that we all do every day. And it's up to ourselves. We have to think for ourselves. We have to come up with our own plan, what's best for ourselves, but in the beginning, if you're not there, if anybody hears this and they're not there and they just don't have it together, you need to get in touch with Paula. You need to listen to that material. You need to listen to her podcast. You need to read the books and do the investment now, because you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And if you really have to ask yourself, do I really want to make it? Am I really going to go through the tough times and the great times? It's a pretty euphoric time. It's a lot of excitement. I mentioned this to you, Mitch, in a previous call, that look, this younger generation has not been through a bear market.
Correct.
And bear markets are going to be painful, and we'll get another one. And it'll be 40% off of the high. If you were to clip 40% off of the NASDAQ today, that's going to be a painful experience for every trader, and you won't be ready for it unless you have planned. And it's something where, things today going on, they seem like they can print this money forever and pump this market, but the natural market mechanisms will always catch up with it. We will go through a correction. We will have a bear market. We'll have another bull market. And I remember people that I thought were the old timers back in the day telling me this, that, We'll go through a bear market. We'll have another bull market. But, how you handle it is really going to determine whether or not you have the longevity. And most of the people, if not all the people that I know that are still professionally in the industry, making money, successful at it, they all have a plan. They're also have an awareness about themselves. That is something I encourage people to pursue and Paula, you can speak to this, and you have the tools of how people can really become more self-aware of what they do in their trading and their life. But the trading aspect of it, of, how you respond, how you interpret, so critical to your process. And I think most people don't understand that there is a process that they do, whether they plan it or not, and they have to work on that process. So again, just a lot of what we're talking about in the session here is how to develop the tools, how to take on the help that we all need to get through crazy markets and stay balanced with the right perspective that maintains an opportunity flow. And if it's not happening for you, or you're angry about a position, or you lost some money, or even better, you made a ton of money and you're overhyped and you get so excited, that can be as dangerous as getting too down. Never want to be too high, too low. But all of this stuff, I think, are critical tools that are not available. There's not enough information about this, outside of what you and Mark developed over the last 30 years and what you're taking on now. And, I was going to ask you, you said you're going to start doing podcasts, some regular content on YouTube, or can you speak a little bit to some of your plans there?
Well, I'm not quite sure, what venue we're going to be doing, because the production company I was planning on going with, they got scooped up by some big corporations. So they're really busy the next couple months. And I kind of want to get this going. So I have to do a little more research, and hopefully we'll get something out there sooner than later. The content's already there. It's just a matter of, how to showcase it. So if everybody can just kind of bear with me. I mean, I'm really happy that my production company has gotten these big gigs. But I mean, I'm small potatoes compared to them, the big gigs they got, because they're doing stuff statewide, for states, and not just individuals anymore. So, but the podcasts are going to be much like my Twitter feed, only it'll be a lot easier for me to develop, an entire thread of dialogue in one sitting. I mean, Twitter, I mean, how much are you going to type, and then you never know if you're going to get yanked because you said anything that they don't like. I could say, I like Hershey's chocolate bars with almonds, and they'll go, oh, well, I don't. So they could yank you. So, I mean, who knows? Because there's been a couple things that I wrote about the markets, just making analogies about life and that kind of thing. And, I was restricted. So
Wow.
I don't really get that, but I think it's probably because, I'm telling people how to think for themselves. That's the primary component of my work, is learning how to think for yourself. And when you can think for yourself about yourself and your own goals and what you need to do, that's very powerful. And that's what Mark and I have been driven to do. This is our passion, and continues to be my passion today, is that I want traders to be powerful. I want them to make as much money or more than they've ever dreamed of. And if I can help in some way to help them facilitate that, that's fantastic. I've mentioned before that when I do my workshops, and like when you guys do yours, when you see the light bulb go off in somebody's head, you see it on their face. There is no greater feeling than knowing that all your hard work is paid off. and they're going to take with it and they're going to run with it to whatever degree they can or they want to. But planting the seeds of helping traders learn how to think for themselves to create their highest financial freedom, that's what we do here, and that's what we'll continue to do. And just getting back to what you said a few moments ago about how the mechanisms of trading has not changed. Trading is trading is trading, and it's been the same forever. And I think where the confusion lies for a lot of these young guys is they're confusing the technology of how to facilitate trading with what trading actually is all about. So they're thinking it's just the technology. They don't understand how the markets interact with each other and how the markets actually work. And that's also something that I help them understand. When I went back and redid The Disciplined Trader, that was our first book written, in the mid 1980s. Well, that's, a lot of traders nowadays weren't even born then. And so some of the examples we put in there about the Hunt brothers and the silver stuff, they have no concept of this. They have no, like you guys said earlier, they don't know what a bear market is because we haven't had one in a long time. They don't know what a correction is. They don't get that. And so when I updated The Disciplined Trader, I went back and added in, like, who are the Hunt brothers? And I explained who they were and what they set out to do. And they literally, when I tell traders today that they literally almost cornered all the silver on the planet, they think I'm crazy. And it's like, well, go on Wikipedia. It's right there. And then explaining charts. Charts are charts are charts. It doesn't matter what methodology you use. A chart is a chart. And there's a lot of confusion about charts where, they'll say, well, excuse me, candlesticks versus RSI versus whatever. And so they're thinking that one is better than the other, not understanding that each one of them has benefits depending on what you want to achieve. And another component is, since they don't understand how the markets work and they don't really get technical analysis, a lot of them really don't. And I'm not being generalizing here, but they think that if I use this, then I can't look at that, or that's wrong and only this is right. And that may be the way they've been taught by, online classes or whatever. But so a lot of what I do is unwrapping preconceived notions about what they thought trading was all about, which is fine, because they need to know.
For sure. And that's what I love about trading is you can be so individualistic. You can have your own methodology, your own freedom to do what you want, but there's unlimited downside and upside. And that's like why you have to have a plan, and you have to have a system that you study and make sure it works. When you're playing the numbers game, like you put on 100 trades, and if you keep applying the same methodology with the same technicals, that it would be profitable in the end. So that's like one aspect I love so much about it. It's like you are a business owner, and using different indicators in your own system is a way that you're able to express who you are as a trader. And then it's like the time scales, like you play the daily or the weekly or the 4 hour, or you play the 5 minute, the 10 minute, whatever, you 15 minute. It's all about your style and who you are. And I just think that's a really cool thing when we just live in a society now that prepares you to work that 9 to 5, to conform, to just be a robot and just, work till you're 65 and then you retire. Trading can break you away from this system that is, I don't know. It's not really a system that was something I wanted to do until I was 65. So I wanted to break away from it in my 20s via trading. Fell in love with it. So,
yeah, same here. Yeah, same here. It's, my first job was, assistant to the VP at the Mid-America Commodity Exchange. Like you said, the first exchange to offer mini contracts, which started, I think, somewhere in the 1970s. I mean, I didn't work there then, but
Mhm.
I wasn't there till the 80s. But I mean, from the first moment I worked there, I was toast. That was it. I was like, I'm in this, man. 100%. I'm all in. I just loved learning how it worked from the inside out. And
Yep.
it was just so fascinating. And then, the trading bug bit me real bad. And I started right there at the Mid-Am. I started as a runner, running the orders into the trading pit, and learned from some of the best and some of the worst traders. But that was back when we had graph paper. And I literally had a pen and graph paper and started doing a 5-minute tick chart with the T-buns.
Jeez.
And, there's no greater thrill than when you get a winning trade. Am I right here?
Totally.
Oh, it's amazing, but that can be really dangerous, right?
I know. It can be, but I had to get that out there because it is a fact. There is no greater thrill of realizing that you did everything right and you made money. Now, the next step is saying, all right, so I'm going to take 50% of that winning trade out of my account and put it aside where I can't wire it back in. And now I have just paid myself as a trader, like I said earlier, and then wait for your next setup. So that's the completion. So see, if somebody has that euphoria of the winning trade, but they don't book the profit by taking whatever percentage out of their trading account, their working capital, then the euphoria will continue and distort their perception. Whereas if they actually pay themselves and take a percentage out and put it aside, now they're thinking like a super trader.
Yeah, their portfolio stays near the same in its value. And so it doesn't make you think, oh, I can risk more or something. It's kind of like a good way to keep yourself balanced, right?
It also reinforces the concept that you can make money. And if you're willing to take the profit, you're going to be able to do it again and repeat, lather, rinse, repeat.
And then habits develop.
Right.
Good habits.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was getting to. And when I say super traders, I'm not exactly saying you're a super trader because you've made $1 million. What I'm saying for us, when we describe super traders, it's those traders that have learned how to think like winners. Above all else, they know what they need to do at any given moment in the markets. That is a super trader.
Yep.
That's my definition.
Yeah. It's a shame that there are no floors anymore. I started out on the Philadelphia Exchange in the summer of '87. And I, just like you, I was a CRT operator. I was one of the people on the inside of the pit when we had to manually change the quotes, when they first had the computer terminals.
Right.
And the market maker would scream, up an eighth, down a quarter, whatever on options. And but that was infectious. And for me, that was a bug bite and a half. But
that was a nice exchange. I visited that quite a few times. That's a nice exchange.
Yeah, for Philadelphia had the first stock exchange ever, and then that they had the largest currency exchange, the currency option exchange, and that was, of course, back when there was 12, 15 different European currencies and all that. But it was just that floor feel and that floor experience. I can't, I don't know if you can ever. You really can experience it because everything's gone digital. I mean, if anyone goes to New York, I strongly recommend go visit Wall Street Exchange. I spent a lot of time on the New York mercantile floor with a big natural gas trader, a guy, super winner, largest independent, and he had the winning attitude. I mean, it just really an awesome guy to be around. Again, all of that floor experience, I know you had that too, gave us the perspective of really of an insight of how the market works and the participants. But today, I think people need to realize that function, how the market functions, where they fit in that process. It's the whole process of trading is, there's so much that goes into it. It just is. I think it's realize that success, I think everyone, you can have a beginner's luck, all of that, but it's really is okay. Longevity. This is a game of longevity. And again, I'll come back and say it takes a plan. It takes a focus that has to be there, or you're not going to realize the longevity that you want.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little bit of history that I teach guys if they don't know it already. And the rest of it is just teaching them how to get to know themselves. And this sounds real new age and, self-help and all that, but it goes way beyond that, because this is about their desire for financial freedom. And it's not like a life coach is going to say, well, meditate and don't be angry and, whatever else they teach. And I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying this is a way of life. This is a way of determining your business in a way that you are going to achieve your biggest dreams of reaching any financial goal that you may seek, whether it's a trading or anything else.
Yeah, in the zone of anything. Yeah, you must be in
Exactly.
the zone.
Right. And one of our next books coming out is going to be called Beyond Trading in the Zone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take key paragraphs from Trading in the Zone and expand them at a much deeper level, which is what we planned on doing anyway. A lot of the materials has already been written. It's just a matter of me compiling it and putting it together. Just like Mark's biography, which was supposed to be out this year, but a couple people who offered to write certain parts of the book that I asked them to kind of drop the ball. So that got delayed. And, but there's other things that I'm going to be working on in the next couple months, as well as the podcast to get out. So I got a lot of work to do. And this is the new age of trading psychology. New wave, new age, meaning it's a new age given the world events, and the new wave meaning first on the block. This is, you guys got to understand, you want to be first on the block and beat out your competitors. Call my office.
Yeah, trading's a zero-sum game. There's a loser on the other side of that trade, right? I mean,
right.
And we were talking about the people that are at these soccer games, right? Or at these events, and they're definitely not trading in the zone, and they're distracted and they're not focused. Well, a lot of times those are the people that are supplying the liquidity to us that we need to sell at take profit levels. So yeah.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be winners and losers. Otherwise there would be no markets. That absolutely. The key though is to keep enough people interested that they make enough money that they stay in it, which is ultimately a good goal. You don't have to be, the Paul Tudor Jones. You don't have to be the Goldman Sachs guy. You can just make a decent living at trading.
For sure. Absolutely.
So it's really.
And the Goldman Sachs guy doesn't always know anyway. So
yeah,
that's coming from personal experience, and I'll share that story another time. But absolutely. I mean, I really, you got me, Paula. You definitely, you've got me, because I again, really do appreciate taking the time. I really, a lot of things that you're saying, jarring my memory and things. I now I want to come back and do a full revisit. I actually have, bought one of Mark's pre-published manuscripts of Trading in the Zone when he sold those before he released it, and he signed it. So I've got that. Really honored. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go back and look at that again too. But now I'm geared, because, I did say to you a week or two ago, I was like, with everything going on, I want to use kind of the energy that's bubbling up with me in the right way. And so again, a lot of the things you're saying are resonating to do so. So I appreciate it. And, Mitch, I really appreciate you too. And I think this has been phenomenal conversation. I think, maybe we start to wrap it up, but
yeah, for sure. I was thinking like,
it's a
hey,
starting point.
everyone's had enough. The viewers, that this is enough gold. If you want more gold, you go to paulatwebb.com, right? And you just set up a consultation with her. And you were saying it's right, first 30 minutes is
free.
Yeah, there you go. What's like, why would you not do that? Like,
yeah, right. I mean, just call and say, hey, what are you about? Or, hey, I've got this problem. Or, hey, I just want to say hello. I mean, it doesn't matter. Hey, great weather over here. What's by you? I mean, I'm here to get to know you and vice versa. To start the conversation and help answer your questions.
I got a feeling you're going to be getting a decent amount of calls probably from this. So just be prepared. And that's a good thing.
Okay.
So
yeah, it would be awesome.
This message needs to be sent out. I mean, I know like having the mentality of trading in the zone is not like what one would consider like flashy or sexy or something, nor is the traditional technical analysis I try to teach on my streams every day. And that's maybe why, I mean, I'm not viral, and because like this is just, I think about like what we teach. It's kind of like a mental sushi, and there's so much like mental Swiss cake rolls out there that people just I don't know, they gravitate towards because it's flashy, and it's just that instant gratification world we live in where people are promising things, and it's not about that. So this is the real way to get to where you want to be, and it's the right way, but it requires devotion, discipline, focus, and a little bit of passion for sure. So
right. And the one thing I will agree with you on is, there's a lot of flash in the pan out there and that kind of thing. But when you really are in the zone, that is the sexiest that there is.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure.
I'm telling you, that's where it's at. Everything else aside, when you're in that zone, there's nothing else. And that's what I hope you find. That's what I help traders find. Get their zone and stay in it. And it's pretty cool.
That's perfect.
paulatwebb.com. harmonictrader.com too for Scott Carney.
But markdouglas.com and Paula T Webb.com. And again, these people have helped me tremendously, folks. I'm honored, Paula, and I've always been considered myself blessed to have known Mark and have had the conversations and time with him. So, big hats off to you for continuing with your collective work, and we're looking forward to it. I'm real appreciative we've reconnected. So again, thank you so much.
All right, well, same to you. It's been nice reconnecting as well.
We'll certainly
and
do
nice
this
meeting
again.
you, Mitch. Yes,
absolutely, Paula. It's an honor, and I know like so many of my viewers are going to be extremely grateful for this conversation. And we'll have to get you on a live stream at some point. I just wanted this to get. I just wanted this to be a static video on YouTube for the algorithms and all that. So just so we can spread the message further. So thank both of y'all for coming out, and until next time, respect the TA.